Hi there, it's Nicole here today with a Dashing Through the Snow Shaker Scene card for the Mama Elephant September blog hop. And this card doesn't necessarily focus on one of the brand new stamp sets, but instead features 4 of them plus several older or previously released Mama Elephant stamps and dies. I'm going to start with my background. I have a piece of regular smooth white cardstock here that I'm going to apply 3 shades of Distress Oxide ink. I find the Distress Oxides are really fairly forgiving even on regular cardstock, especially the more saturated the paper gets. What I want to create is a night sky. I've got black soot, peacock feathers, and faded jeans Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to blend these together until I get that seamless blend I'm looking for. This is going to be the sky up where Santa and his reindeer are flying above the cityscape. And instead of stamping falling snow or snowflakes or whatever on the background itself, I'm going to spritz this with water from a distress sprayer instead, and then blot it dry with a paper towel. It's a really quick and easy way not only to add distressing for different types of cards or water bubbles for under the water, but I think it also gives kind of that illusion of falling snow in the background. It's just a really fun, great look. You can see as I have applied more and more of the Distress Oxide inks on top of one another, it's getting a much more seamless, smooth blend. I've already pre-die cut a lot of my components. I want to make sure that everything's going to work well together before I spritz it with that water. The frame here is from Park Avenue. Then my border was die cut with a Borderlines Trio die. And then the city and the street are from the Cityscape. Really awesome, fantastic dies. All of these were previously released, and they're going to work seamlessly with the new products. It's one of my favorite things about Mama Elephant is that how so many of the stamps and dies work together. The new ones work with the previously released ones and vice versa. It's just fantastic. Here is that water now. And you can see the snow coming to life immediately. I held it pretty high up, trying to get kind of a more scattered look. And I'm going to clean off my white craft mat. I have gotten a lot of questions about this white mat. It is from Tonic Studios. It is an easy clean mat, and I absolutely love it. The color is fantastic. It's perfect for inking, painting, Nuvo crystal drops pop right off of it, all kinds of things. Now on that white border, before I put away my Distress Oxide inks, I am not going to re-ink the Peacock Feathers foam, but very, very lightly take it to the edge of this snow and add just a hint of color to that. Very light, but helps kind of give that dimension. One thing about the Cityscape, the windows don't always all pop out when you die cut it. They will if you poke them out with a piercing tool. In this instance, that's going to be to my advantage. I don't want it to appear that all the lights are quote unquote on. I'm going to back this with yellow cardstock strips. And when I do that, I only want some of the windows to look like there's a light on inside. I'm trying to figure out my perfect placement for my greeting, and at this point I realized it's not all going to fit at the top, so I need to come up with something a little bit more creative. I'm going to put my background directly on a white top fold card base, and I want to get that lined up, and it was overhanging a little bit, so I am going to just trim that edge to make it nice and clean. There is my Park Avenue frame. I'm going to back that frame with my snow, and I'm going to place the Cityscape directly on the background. Some of the elements are going to be on the inside of the shaker. Some are going to be on the window itself or right behind the window. Here's that piercing tool popping out just a few more of the windows because I think only like 3 or 4 actually popped out when I die cut it, but you can see how easily they pop out with a piercing tool. So on the back of my Cityscape now, I'm going to take just a little glossy accents and some scraps of yellow strips of cardstock and back the areas where there's open windows. It's again another way to add that depth and dimension and to really finish off a scene nicely. These little attention to detail make a huge difference. Even though this is on the inside of the shaker, you don't want to see night sky through all of those windows. You want some of the windows to look dark because everybody should be sleeping. Santa's on his way, even though there's some little kids who are running out into the park watching him. The street I've also backed with a strip of yellow cardstock. And this is going to be popped along the bottom edge. Unfortunately, I went ahead and attached the snowy border back behind there. So I'm going to use a little undo adhesive remover to pop that up just a little bit so I can place the street down there along the bottom edge. So on my frame, back behind it is the street and the snow. I'm going to use it as a guide to figure out where my cityscape needs to go because I don't want it popped up too high. But I don't want to attach my frame yet either because it's going to be attached with foam adhesive to be a shaker. You could definitely leave the shaker element out of it if you wanted to and just put a clear window back behind this with your greeting. Or you could skip the greeting altogether and have a greeting on the inside of the card. On this plastic window now, using all of my background components as a guide, I am going to pick up this sentiment from the Puffy Holiday Greetings. This is a brand new stamp set for September. And I am going to ink this up with white StazOn ink and stamp that right there on the clear window. I'm a huge fan of stamping greetings on the window instead of inside the shaker because it's always visible that way. I'm going to set all my shaker components aside for a minute and work on all of the rest of the images for the scene. I have got trees and the little boy and girl from the Me and My Yeti stamp set. This is brand new for September. I have Santa in his sleigh from the Little Santa Agenda, also brand new. And then I've repeatedly stamped Reindeer from the Little Reindeer Agenda, also brand new. I ended up only using 3 of the 4 that I stamped and colored. I can save that other one for another project. Now the little reins there for the sleigh and the reindeer, I stamped because I didn't realize that there was not a coordinating die for those. So while you see me stamp and color them here, I'm actually going to have to stamp them on my card itself. And I'm going to show you how I get around that since I didn't realize when I started my card that there wasn't a coordinating die. The colors I'm using for each individual image are shown across the bottom of the screen. I did bounce around a lot. I apologize. I meant to kind of color each image so that it was a little bit easier to tell what I'm coloring and when. Hopefully the little guide down here will help with that. The trees are my favorite green color combination. The snow at the top of them, I didn't really add a lot of color to, just warm gray 1. Very, very light. I am going to glitter up my trees. I've been really addicted to glitter for my holiday card projects this year so far. So I've been adding quite a bit of glitter. I'm going to bounce down here to my reindeer. Add some reds for the collars and the little bows around them. I forgot to mention the panda driving the little truck. What really inspired this whole card is I really knew I wanted to have Santa and his reindeer flying above the cityscape. That was where it all started. But I thought, what goes with that? And I looked through my stamps and I really wanted something on the road. And this little van from Happy Mail fits the sizing and everything just perfect. I was delighted when I realized that. And then I realized that the little kids from Me and My Yeti are also sized perfectly to look like they're down on the ground where Santa and his reindeer are up above. So really kind of exciting. This is a mix and match type card. This is really my favorite kind of card to create, where you go through your stamp collection or collection to mix and match and find the perfect elements to bring together to create a scene. And I think it's really kind of satisfying and fun to find those images that work so well together. I always think it's kind of exciting. So that was kind of my thought process and how I came about using the images that I end up using for my card. The coloring, while it seems like it took a little bit, really kind of came together super fast. I had used a lot of these colors on some other of my Mama Elephant projects for this month. So a lot of it was really quick coloring. I had a lot of the markers out already. And these little boy and girl images, even the trees, are very small. The van, except for the van itself, the packages and everything, also very, very small. So you don't have to do a ton of shading or anything like that. Once I have these little guys all colored in, I'll be taking the coordinating dies from Me and My Yeti, Little Santa Agenda, Little Reindeer Agenda, and Happy Mail, and I'll die cut all of these with that. In the finished card, I actually have another trio of trees. So that tree image in the upper left corner, I needed to repeat. I felt like it balanced out the design on the ground a little bit better. I originally thought that this would be plenty, but I really think the addition of the other 3 trees on the other side of the van helps balance it out, and you'll see that here in a little bit. I'm using 2 red color combinations. They're my favorite 2 red color combinations, but I've been using this deeper red color for a lot of my autumn and winter themed cards for whatever reason. I just really like it. It's a nice difference from the red combination I usually use and what I used for Santa, which was our 24, 46, and 39 for the deeper, darker color. And then this is more of, I kind of call it an autumn red. I've been using it a lot for leaves and things like that, but I like it a lot. So finish coloring in just a few of these extra little areas. I love that little panda driving the van. He's so cute. Now I have my die cut images, and I really, before I commit to anything, like to lay them out, make sure everything is going to work together. I have to repeatedly die cut some of those repeating images, and I want to use my window to help guide where everything's going to go. I love how that greeting looks stamped on the window. This is embossable window plastic from Judikins. So if you didn't want to use Stays On ink, you could use Versamark and heat emboss with whatever color of embossing powder that you want, especially if you don't have the color of Stays On ink that you think will work. I'm going to attach Santa and his reindeer to the inside of my shaker. So instead of being on the outside, these are all components that are on the inside. Santa, his reindeer, and the cityscape are all inside the shaker. On the outside of the shaker are going to be the van driving on the road, the kids, the trees, even though that the snow border is kind of back behind, it's still in front of the acetate window, if that makes sense. I'm going to use the Misty to line up those reins so I can attach my reindeer, and I'm going to color in the little jingle bells there with a white gel pen. And then I even went over it with the Stardust glitter pen because I felt like it was a little too bright white and I wanted it to have a little bit more of a glittery look. I'm using some tweezers because these images are pretty small, and I'm gluing a little bit of glossy accents on the tips of the trees and then adding some Ice Chips glitter. This is from Honeybee Stamps, and I've used it a lot for winter themed projects. I really love it. It has that great look of snow, but yet nice and clear still. Have my van driving on the road, And there's where I realized I really felt like I needed another tree on that right side. But I'm going to go ahead and add some snow along the ground as well, not just on the tips of the trees. Even though the ground is snowy, I wanted some of that texture, that glitter along the bottom edge. Here's that final little group of trees that I'm going to tuck here. I ended up having to use my hands anyway. And make sure and add that ice chips glitter here on the right side as well. And there were a couple places over on the left that I felt like needed a little bit more. We can always use more glitter, right? I'm going to tap off that excess, put that all back into my little storage container. I'm going to put 2 layers of foam adhesive around all 4 sides of this. The wheels are finished with glossy accents, as is the window to the van. Little finishing touches that really help bring the whole scene to life. So while this looks nice or looks cloudy right now, it's going to be nice and clear when it completely dries, and I'm just popping those air bubbles with the tip of my fine tip applicator. Once it's completely dry, I did flip it over. I am going to back this frame portion with 2 layers of foam adhesive. Because the window doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the card, but I want the whole panel to be 3-dimensional, there's going to be foam adhesive all around the 4 sides, plus the shaker portion really is going to go right there along that snow border, and I'm just going to curve my foam tape a little bit. That's the shaker window, but I still need some foam adhesive down here at the bottom to make the card lie flat and lie really nicely. A powder tool, which I kind of forgot and I started to remove the backing paper, is just going to be used around these edges to help keep that ice chips glitter from sticking too bad. I'm going to fill my shaker with some ice chips glitter. This is going to be the falling snow, kind of a snow globe type of look. Remove my backing paper. I'm going to take the card base and adhere it right to the shaker window. It's the same size as the card front, so that makes it easy. And when I flip that over, I've got a snowy scene. So much fun. And Santa's flying high there above the cityscape. Thanks for joining me today for this Christmas scene shaker card featuring lots of new plus previously released stamps and dies from Mama Elephant. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Mama Elephant that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.